Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire from online, and today is just going to be one of those chatty journal with me's. I filmed these clips a little while ago now. It's December 5th today. I feel like the winter season chaos is in full swing over here, but I'm having a heck of a time today doing my voiceover because I got a new microphone. I got a microphone. I've never had one before, and it feels so fancy. It's so fun. I feel like I was doing this kind of whisper yell thing to overcompensate for the fact that I didn't have a microphone and a way to control like extraneous noise. And so I personally feel really good about this improvement. Another thing that's pretty exciting that I am so happy to share, but also I'm still like in shock about, is that I hit 250 paid SUBSTACK subscribers today. Like, I actually don't have the words. I'm going to try to find the words. So thank you so much. If you are a part of that community, I have exciting things coming up. And I also just so often I get messages and little nudges of encouragement and sweetness that are basically like, this is, because I'm like, don't worry, guys. There will be fun things coming up. And people are just like, no, we just love you for who you are already. And it just feels really nice. I feel so affirmed. I love sharing about my hobby, and I also love sharing stories and musings from my position as someone who is a documenter of days and has been logged on for so long. I know that in a lot of ways what I share online is a little bit of a mixed bag, and I think that that's why I've attracted readers and a community. And it's just been a really fun experience for me. And I had so much imposter syndrome when I decided to start opening up the opportunity for people to pay to support my work. But given that I have so much to share. I love it. I spend a lot of time. I want you all to know that I do spend a lot of time on my newsletters and also my YouTube. And of course, I spend time on journaling because that's what I love to do. I know that a lot of my content is about that. Sometimes I will specifically create certain journaling spreads or ideas because I would like to share, like, creating for the purpose of sharing with an audience, which is great, but it's definitely something new that I have to budget the time for. I don't have anything like Patreon at this time. I don't know. It's got PBS would like to thank viewers like you kind of vibes, like in the middle of the Arthur episodes. You know what I'm talking about? Without further ado, let's move on into voiceover chats. I did an open call. What do y'all want to know about? What do you want to chat about this week? Let me know on my Instagram yesterday. And I got a lot of great responses, and I'm going to try to tackle some thoughtfully and also kind of as many as I can. So let's get into it. Let's go. Please enjoy this chatty journal with me. If you don't want to hear me squawk about whatever we're going to get into, feel free to mute me and then put on your favorite journaling playlist. If you need inspiration, I will link one down below. You can listen to the journaling playlist that I like to listen to when I journal. All right, let's get into it. I always love a favorites list. Coffee, movie, song, smell, etc. What are your faves right now? Okay, I love this. Here are my favorites as of Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 at 5:46 p.m. Okay, my favorite scent has to be I'm going to Americanize it, but wassail candle from Patty Wax. It smells so good. Wassail is a very delicious, warm, festive drink. My cousins and I used to make the very Midwestern version. You basically just put a bunch of apple juice or apple cider in a crock pot with cloves and cinnamon and simmer on low, and then you can add either cranberries or slices of citrus, oranges. We didn't I mean, especially growing up, but even after we were adults, adult age, we did not indulge in the alcoholic version, although I think that that's like traditionally that's what's in it. Anyway, patty wax. Y'all know patty wax? Oh my goodness, I love patty wax because, and forgive the like millennial marketing speak, but their vessels, like what they sell their candles in, are all so amazing. They're meant to be reusable. I have had so many beautiful patty wax candles over the years. That would be a dream partnership for real, especially now that I'm like always out here with candles at my journaling desk. Coffee is, my coffee order while I'm out. I'm keeping it simple these days. I'm going back to my roots. I'm going to Dunkin'. I'm getting an iced coffee caramel swirl with a little almond milk. I know that the caramel swirl has milk in it. That's not the point. At home, I'm still enjoying Cometeer pods. Those are those little like flash frozen coffee pods, hot or iced, but always with a generous pour of creamer with lots of chemicals. The Dunkin' extra creamer is a good one. And then I also just love like the Coffee Mate hazelnut. Chobani makes a really great creamer. Califia Farms, if I'm trying to go like, I don't know, every now and then I'm like, I'm not doing dairy anymore. And then I just come crawling back. Speaking of that side of the family and that part of the family where the wassail comes from, something about the holidays makes me really want to get back into like a homemade whipped cream with like a drizzle of honey. Ugh. My favorite song, I can't pick a favorite song right now, but I do have a favorite artist. I've been loving Ethan Tash. He came out with an album, I want to say his first album, like earlier in the summer. And it is so good. I can't pick a favorite song. I've really been loving Shell and Come On. So yeah, I would highly recommend checking out Ethan Tash. I would say for fans of Howdy, Pine Grove, and Runner. Favorite movie? At this moment, my favorite movie is The Holdovers. I watched it last night with my boyfriend. It's with Paul Giamatti. I'm trying to convince my family. I don't think I'll have to try that hard, but I'm really trying to do a little like Christmas evening or December 26th movie outing with my mom and brother, and I think that would be the perfect movie to see with them. Next question or prompt: getting over perfectionism and journaling. Okay, yes, of course. How could I go for an open call for topics to talk about on my voiceover and not expect this question or prompt to come up? Repeat after me. It's just paper, and I am not afraid of paper. I enjoy the process. There are other things that I can do with my time if I don't enjoy this process. Journaling should be fun. I think I'm going to record myself saying that and put it on a hit clip and send it via snail mail to everybody who asks me that question. I mean this with love. I mean it all with love. And we can still talk about it. Like, obviously, I'm really not trying to be dense on purpose. I've said that before. I know that like this is a big concern. It's a huge concern. It is probably the biggest concern and some of the reason why you all might be watching this in the first place and not just like nose in your own journal. So I'm not afraid to talk about it. I enjoy talking about it. I just don't know what else to say at the moment. Like, I feel like it's one of those things. It's like repetition. It becomes like a mantra. It becomes like an affirmation that you can give yourself. It's just paper. I am not afraid of paper. I enjoy the process. There are other things that I can do with my time if I don't enjoy the process. Journaling should be fun. Yeah, I literally did write that down. I'm literally reading it from a piece of paper right now. Ideas for collections? Oh, this is great. I feel like I talk about this every now and then. Always happy to talk about it. I have a static feed post on my Instagram from October that has a list that you can look at. Some collections that come to mind for me right now that make me smile. I did a kettle chip flavor tracker. A classic TBR list is always good. TBR stands for to be read. So any books that you're like really interested in picking up from the library or any books that you have on your shelves that you're really wanting to read. Something else that I just thought of that I haven't made a list of myself, but I want to is like, I would title it Current Under the Sink Happenings. Literally like what is under my sink right now? What is under your bathroom sink right now? Like for instance, when my mom was 31, she for sure had Aquanet hanging around. And now she uses something different. She's probably on some like blow dry Bumble and Bumble. I don't know. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? It would be interesting to kind of like reflect. I always think, whatever, call it shallow, call it whatever you want. But I like to track what I'm buying and notice trends and write about purchases. I always think that that's an interesting thing to write about. Next question. Why bound over rings? Oh, great question. So, to put it in layman's terms, why are you using a notebook with bound pages and not a binder-esque journal with rings? You know, metal rings. And every year I warm up to it a little more with more exposure. I think the reason why I haven't gone for it in previous years is honestly because I never saw, okay, this is about to sound kind of brutal, but you just have to, please don't take it that way. Okay? Thanks. The reason why I haven't gone for it is because I never saw anyone actually using them. They were just, to me, and this is just what I saw, not the truth, right? It's my truth. But I would only ever see them showing their decor pages and just the fact that they bought the $300 leather ring cover. And I was like, okay, I have no idea what is going on in here. I couldn't conceptualize what went on inside. If I tried it today, I would 100% just put my own spin on it, do whatever I wanted, print out whatever I wanted. I think at the end of the day, I just prefer a bound book. There's a lot of printing and cutting and sourcing, I feel, that can go along with a ring system. Feels a little bit like admin. Something else that might inform my decision is that I do a whole lot, like as a school-based speech language pathologist, I'm always making like visuals, and I'm doing a whole ton of like cutting and laminating and punching holes and stuff. I don't know. It's too close to what I'm doing at work. Really what it comes down to, it's just a matter of preference. And I know you asked why bound over rings, and I don't have an answer. Just that I prefer a bound notebook. I know a lot of people like rings, and if you like it, I love it, truly. I cannot even count on one hand. I can't even think of all of the like internet pals, planner journal people that I know that are like super into rings right now. Either they have been for a long time or they just recently got back into it, and they are having so much fun. And that's what it's all about. That is honestly what it's all about. So if you are feeling kind of stuck in your bound journaling practice and you want a little bit more, you need to switch it up. You need a little spice. See, now that I'm thinking about it, how fun would rings be? Because you can like change the order of where things go. How do you archive it? That's the question. And are you all buying like new $300 leather ring systems like every time you fill something up? I'm not judging. I'm honestly just wondering. I would have archival issues. I enjoy the fact that a bound book can just be stored, used, loved, stored, not forgotten about, but just, put away, done, period. What are you reading right now? I am currently reading Icebreaker on my Kindle. Don't ask me who writes it. I don't know, actually. If this book were around when I was 17 years old, I don't know what I would have done with myself. I was an ice skater. I was a figure skater. And in our ice arena, we only had one rink. And so we were always sharing the ice. Oh, we were always sharing the ice. Anyway, listening to the Book Club Hotel on Spotify. You all know about this fun new arrangement that Spotify has with audiobooks, right? You get 15 free hours of audiobook listening a month if you have premium. That has been super wonderful for me. Last month, I listened to The Woman in Me by Britney Spears and Counting the Cost by Jill Duggar Dillard. So good. In print, I am reading The 100 Years' War on Palestine, and I'm also rereading Wheat Belly. Yeah. Next prompt. Joy of the act of writing beyond the content. Now, you'll have to forgive all of us here because I know that these people are trying to stick to the confines of an Instagram response button. What? Instagram response text button? An Instagram response. They're trying to stick to the box. they're sticking to the box here. I enjoy this prompt so much, and I'm sensing a proper newsletter on this. I love the idea of having a personal narrative, and I love creating. I always have. For me personally, if the joy wasn't there, I wouldn't do it at all. So yeah, I'm down to explore this prompt. I like it. I'm wondering if this is more of a question about how I balance that because I do share, or if it's like, how can I, being someone else who likes to share online, being someone else who likes to open up their creative space to the world at large, to the court of public opinion. You know, I will say this. I know that there's at least one person out there that's like, wow, this has got to be fabricated, because you know you're filming everything. So like you're going to be kind of self-policing and really thoughtful and calculated about what you write. And I get that 100%, but I need to make something very clear that I feel like goes unnoticed or unappreciated sometimes, because I've always been yapping about how it's super important to always have something going. A book, a notebook, a journal, a diary, whatever. Some type of bound book or rings, I guess, if that's your thing. Something that is just for you. It is for your eyes only. You are not ever planning on sharing it. In fact, you may even think about burning it at the end of the year. Like, I always have something like that going on, but no one ever sees it because I don't post about it. I would love, this is such a great prompt. I am writing a newsletter on its stat, and I'm going to interview some people because I'm feeling like I want to interview some people about this. This is so good. Whoa. Text message from mom. Anyone have any input on warm house shoes? Ooh, okay. Mom's asking if anyone wants to comment down below. Let my mom know what kind of warm house shoes. And now I got to figure out how to turn notifications off, because this has started a new thread in the family group chat, and I know we are just going to have hide alerts. She's looking for house shoes. I personally have acorn slippers. I was almost influenced yesterday by 2 different people to get cow slippers, and I might still. How to keep fountain pens in good working order. Take them apart and clean them based on the model, based on the brand. I am such a fountain pen beginner still, but I cannot tell you how many times I've gone to YouTube. Like this time last year in late 2022, I was always fishing on YouTube for some good, short, succinct fountain pen care tutorials. And that's what I would recommend you doing. I wouldn't recommend that ink sits in your pen for too long. What too long is subjective. I honestly don't know what the appropriate amount of time is. I'm a newbie. What's the most annoying question you get? That I honestly, if something is like wildly inappropriate or just goes beyond my boundaries, I won't answer it. And then I'll overthink it and usually write about it in my journal. But anyway, I don't have a most annoying question. I think that there is a brand, I guess, of questions that I just would be fine with never answering again, which are just like, what's your favorite pen? What journal are you using? And for my part, I'm going to do, one of the top priorities for me at the beginning of 2024 is to make at least my Instagram more user-friendly in that way, where I want to do more frequent and more varied Canva carousels and slides explaining my current favorites, what I'm currently using, why I've changed. Like anytime that I change anything in my system, use that as an opportunity to talk about it, because that's why people follow me and they're interested in that content, and that's okay. Also, I'm sorry, we have one of my neighbor's dogs is enjoying his best puppy life outside, and I love that for him. And so if you hear little puppy noises in the background, that's why. But you might not, because I got a new microphone. Wow. The crowd goes wild. Ranking your alt soda faves. Love this. It's always Olipop and Poppy for me. I'm just going to say. It's always them fighting for the top spot. I loved the Poppy Raspberry Rose, but then Olipop came out with that ginger ale. And you know how I feel about ginger ale. So I love the Olipop and the Poppy Grape. I love the Poppy Ginger Lime. I love the Olipop Tropical Punch. I haven't tried either of the Christmassy time ones, but I've heard mixed reviews about both. So anyway, holiday traditions. One you want to start and one you want to end. Wow. What a thoughtful question. That's fun. I like this. Something I would love to, how about this? I'm going to continue for the rest of my days with a heartfelt / gaudy / 60s Christmas. Here's how I feel about Christmas decorations. I feel like they should be curated over many, many years. Hopefully, if you're blessed enough to have hand-me-downs from family members, to have ornaments and decorations from past generations. I don't have any traditions I would like to end, honestly. It's sad, but I am so allergic to trees. And I used to get the most gnarly sinus infections, like for pretty much all of the Christmas season growing up. And my mom is very smart. She's also a nurse. But it took even my parents a while to put 2 and 2 together about how and I wasn't the only one in the family either. It's like we all, and I know that it's cold and flu season, but it was like specifically like very allergy-y and sinus infection-y. And I'm just like totally allergic to Christmas trees. And so I think we did like a renovation at one point, and then my mom was just like, you know what? We deserve a big, nice tree with like the lights that, it has the remote with the lights that switch on and off. And so they got one of those when I was in high school. And then I was like never sick, except for if it was like a rogue sickness. But I was never sick like that again around Christmas. So I just, I get a nice spruce or cedar and balsam candle. And I just am not going to be the type of person in my life that like heads to the Christmas tree farm and like cuts down a tree. And while I feel a little bit sad about that, because I did grow up with like getting the sap on my fingers like while I was putting ornaments on, and then sometimes I would be in charge of watering the tree and like all this stuff. Like I know how magical it is in some ways, but thinking about like taking it down like right before you go back to school. We always did it like the Sunday before we went back to school. And then little needles were everywhere. And then we always, without fail, would end up throwing away one of our ornaments. I love a mismatched, quirky tree with no real, quote, aesthetic. I feel like in the past 10 years, oh my gosh, I mean, we can blame social media for this one for sure. But like the picture perfect, looks like it came out of a Pottery Barn type tree. I will always have one of those trees with just like a whole ton of different kind of ornaments on there. Next up, travel journaling / mobile planner ideas. Okay, I don't really know if I have any real ideas per se, but I do know that investing, you don't even really have to invest. You can just get a small pouch of any type. I don't know, spend $5 or $10. Get a small pouch to carry around 10 to 15 markers or pens. If you know you're going to be traveling, but you like to journal and plan with deco and washi tape and color, I would suggest taking the time to put some stickers or washi in your pages prior to your trip or wherever you plan on traveling to over the holidays or whenever. And, this is prior to writing also. And then you can step back and be like, yo, this is a nice page even without the writing. And so if you're just journaling in like a nondescript black pen on your family member's couch states away over Christmas, it won't matter because then you can like flip through and you'll have a completed page. A lot of people on it. I mean, I'm sure that this isn't like It's not news to some of you, but some of you might not have thought about it that way before. And so I'm happy to help. Last one, and then I would love to expand a little bit more on any of these. If any of you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. The last little prompt I'm going to talk about is found objects to add to journal. So I know I've said in a previous, it was either a voiceover chat or on TikTok, but I'm pretty sure it was on here, that I would love to do a full video about ephemera and just like found objects, random stuff that you can add to your journal that isn't like straight up from a sticker book. Here's a quick list for you. Stamped logos off of paper bags, receipts, parking tickets, concert or event wristbands, museum maps, leaves or pressed flowers, candy wrappers, tissue paper. I did just read off of a list. I wrote that down because I feel very passionate that things to journal with are just everywhere. All right, my friends, that is all from me today. Isn't it funny how I said I would never do a podcast? I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you all soon. Make sure that you check out my Instagram. If you came here from a suggested video on YouTube, I have found out that that's how some people are finding me, which is really great. So there's more where this came from on my Instagram, as well as my Substack newsletter and TikTok. I will catch y'all later. Bye.